I built a wall around my heart with sheet music. That's the only way to tutor a Volkov. To exist in a state of meticulous, beautiful focus where the outside world, especially the man who owns it, cannot touch you. My fingers trace ivory keys under a baccarat chandelier, correcting Katya's posture. The penthouse sprawls across the top floors of the Volkov Tower on Fifth Avenue, all obsidian and steel. Dmitri Volkov is a shadow I anticipate. I hear his footsteps on the marble gallery and know to tighten my focus. I catch glimpses of him through the frosted glass, dark hair, bespoke suits, and eyes the color of cold steel that rarely acknowledge my presence. He holds silent meetings with men like his consigliere, Sergei. I tidy the remnants. My job is to be the best and to disappear. The Shame is a two-bedroom apartment I share with my aunt in Bensonhurst. I take every session because I need every dollar to protect my father's memory. Senator Harlan Reid destroyed my family 5 years ago, using the Mid-City Infrastructure Bill to bankrupt us and smear our name. I signed agreements that silence my protests, surviving on cheap coffee. So I tutor, I control. Tonight is the Metropolitan School Fall Gala. I have to go. Katya finds me, wrapped in mink. "You look tired, Anya," she says. "You can't keep hiding in the music room forever." We descend. The limo is waiting, the rain a cold downpour. At the St. Regis ballroom entrance, Mrs. Kendall, a Senator Reid donor, steps out, blocking the way. "Evening, little tutor," she purrs. "Just reminding you what happens to people who oppose a good man like the senator. You think anyone can erase your family's shame?" She whispers a specific, humiliating detail about the day my father lost everything. My composure shatters. The tears come instantly. I turn and bolt, running blindly into the punishing New York rain. I collapse against the cold brick wall of a service corridor 3 blocks from the St. Regis, gasping for air that won't come. The rain has soaked through my coat, my hair plastered against my face, mixing with tears I can't stop. 5 years of control, shattered by one poisonous woman and a memory I've spent every waking moment trying to bury. My phone vibrates. "Katya." I silence it. Then it rings again and again. I force myself to walk, my heels clicking on wet pavement, until I find myself at a dimly lit coffee shop. The fluorescent lights buzz overhead as I sit in the corner booth, ordering nothing, staring at the Formica table. My reflection in the window shows a ghost, mascara streaked, lips trembling, everything I've worked so hard to hide now written across my face. The door chimes. I don't look up until a shadow falls across my table. Katya stands there, her mink coat dripping, concern etched into her young face. Behind her, filling the doorway like a storm front, is Dmitri Volkov. His presence transforms the shabby coffee shop into something dangerous. The few patrons glance up, then quickly away, sensing predator instinct. He wears his tuxedo like armor, not a single raindrop daring to cling to the fabric. His steel gray eyes find mine, and for the first time in 2 years of employment, he truly sees me. "The car is outside," he says. His voice is quiet, controlled, the kind of calm that precedes violence. I can't speak, can't move, can't do anything but sit there, exposed and ruined. Katya slides into the booth beside me, taking my frozen hand. "Papa drove himself," she whispers. "He never drives himself." Dmitri doesn't repeat himself. He simply waits, a man accustomed to obedience, until I finally gather enough strength to stand. My legs shake as we walk to the black SUV idling at the curb. Sergey in the driver's seat, his scarred hand steady on the wheel. The ride back to the tower is silent. Katya holds my hand the entire way. I stare out the window at the glittering Manhattan skyline, wondering if this is the last time I'll see it from inside a Volkov vehicle. By morning, I'll be replaced. A tutor who cries at school functions, who brings drama and weakness into a world that demands perfection. I'm already gone. We arrive at the tower. Katya hugs me before disappearing down the hallway to her room. I turn toward the guest quarters where I keep a change of clothes, but Dmitri's voice stops me cold. The library, now. The library is all dark wood and leather, floor-to-ceiling books in Russian and English, first editions worth more than my aunt's entire building. A fire crackles in the marble fireplace. Dmitri stands by the window, hands clasped behind his back, looking out at the city he controls from this height. I hover near the doorway, dripping rainwater onto priceless Persian rugs. Sit. He doesn't turn around. I perch on the edge of a leather chair, my soaked coat leaving a stain. The silence stretches until it becomes unbearable. I open my mouth to offer my resignation, to apologize, to explain. But he speaks first. Who made you cry? 4 words, simple, direct, devastating. Mr. Volkov, I apologize for the disruption. I'll submit my resignation. I didn't ask for your resignation. He turns now, and his eyes pin me in place. Anya. My name in his mouth is a command. I have built an empire on reading people, on knowing when someone is lying, when they're afraid, when they've been wounded. You do not cry from headaches. You do not run from stress. So I will ask you one more time, and you will answer me honestly, or you will discover why people feared disappointing me. Who made you cry? The room tilts. I grip the arms of the chair, my knuckles white. He's not letting me hide, not letting me protect myself with polite lies and professional distance. For 2 years I've been invisible in this penthouse, and now he's demanding I bleed in front of him. Mrs. Kendall, I whisper, and her friends, associates of Senator Harlan Reid. If you can't stand people who use their power to destroy innocent families, hit that subscribe button and let me know in the comments. Type, "Nobody deserves that." Because what happened next only got worse. Dmitri's expression doesn't change, but something shifts in the air. Something cold and final. Continue. The words come like shards of glass. I tell him everything. How my father owned a small but respected construction firm. How Senator Reid wanted our contracts for the Mid-City Infrastructure Project. How we refused his demand for kickbacks. How Reid weaponized regulatory agencies, initiated fraudulent investigations, leaked false corruption claims to the press. How my father fought for 3 years until the legal fees bankrupted us. How he died of a heart attack 2 weeks after we lost everything. His name destroyed. Our family left with nothing but debt and shame. How I signed settlement agreements that forbade me from speaking publicly about what happened. How I've spent 5 years in silence, working 3 jobs to keep my aunt housed and fed, to slowly pay down the debts that weren't even ours. How tonight, Mrs. Kendall cornered me at the gala entrance and whispered the exact words the senator's lawyer said to my father the day before he died. People like you don't win against people like us. Remember that when you're begging on street corners. By the time I finish, my face is wet again. I haven't cried about this in 3 years.
I thought I'd buried it deep enough, but Dmitri Volkov demanded the truth, and my carefully constructed walls crumbled like they were made of paper. He's silent for a long moment, his gaze never leaving my face. Then he moves to his desk, pressing a button on the phone. Sergey, my office, immediately. Mr. Volkov, please, I just want to forget. Forget? His voice drops to a lethal whisper. They targeted you because you work for me, because you are in my household. They thought my tutor was weak enough to attack without consequence. They thought they could humiliate someone under my protection and I would do nothing. He leans forward, his hands flat on the desk. That, Anya, is a deliberate provocation, and provocations demand complete responses. The door opens. Sergey enters, his expression unreadable. Dmitri speaks to him in rapid Russian. I catch familiar words: Senator Reid, infrastructure, accounts, networks, elimination. Sergey nods once and leaves. I'm shaking. What are you doing? Solving a problem. Dmitri pours 2 glasses of vodka from a crystal decanter, handing me one. You will drink this. Then you will go to your quarters and sleep. Tomorrow you will return to teaching my daughter. Your employment is not in question. Your safety, however, is now my priority. I don't understand. You don't need to. He touches his glass to mine. But you should know that men like Senator Reid only understand one language, and I am fluent in it.
I don't sleep. I lie in the guest bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to muted voices from Dmitri's office down the hall. At 3 in the morning, I give up and wander to the music room, seeking the only comfort I know. My fingers find Chopin's Nocturne in E-flat major, the notes spilling out soft and mournful in the darkness. I don't hear him enter. I only realize Dmitri is there when he speaks from the doorway. My mother played that piece when my father was alive. I stop mid-phrase, my hands frozen over the keys. He moves into the room, still wearing his tuxedo pants and white shirt, the bow tie discarded, sleeves rolled to his elbows. It's the most casual I've ever seen him, the most human. I need something from you, he says. Anything. The word escapes before I can stop it. Information. Your father's firm, before the senator destroyed it, did he keep records, documents, evidence of what Reid did? My heart pounds. My father was thorough. He documented everything: the illegal pressure, the false charges, the coordinated media attacks. He gave copies to 3 different lawyers. They all refused to use them, said going after a senator was career suicide. Where are those documents now? In a storage unit in Queens. I've kept paying the fees, but I've never looked at them. The settlement agreement. The settlement agreement is irrelevant. He sits on the piano bench beside me, close enough that I can smell his cologne, cedar and smoke. Give me access to those files. Give me the names of everyone involved in your father's destruction. Every lawyer Reid used, every regulator he corrupted, every journalist he paid. I want a complete map of his network. Why? Because they made you cry, and because I do not tolerate attacks on my household. His eyes meet mine, and I see something there I never expected. Fury. Pure, controlled, devastating fury. You are mine to protect now, Anya, whether you asked for it or not. If you believe loyalty should be repaid with absolute protection, hit that subscribe button. People like Senator Reid won't, and you need to hear what she did about it. I should be horrified. I should refuse, but all I feel is a terrible, desperate hope. What are you going to do? What I do best: dismantle empires.
The next morning, I find myself in Dmitri's private office with Sergei and two other men I don't recognize. They're reviewing documents spread across a massive table, my father's documents, already retrieved from storage, already analyzed. Sergei looks up when I enter. "Miss Petrova, we need clarification on the shell company your father mentioned here." He points to a page covered in my father's handwriting. "Meridian Holdings, LLC. What did he know about it?" I move closer, my hands trembling as I touch my father's notes. He tracked Reed's dark money operation. Meridian Holdings was the primary vehicle. They funneled the contractor kickbacks through it, disguised as consulting fees. My father had the bank routing numbers, the dates, the amounts, but no lawyer would touch it. "We're not lawyers." Dmitri's voice comes from behind me. He places a hand on my shoulder, steady and warm. "We're something far more effective." For the next 3 hours, I answer their questions. I provide context to my father's research. I explain the network of corruption my father uncovered, the web of compromised officials and purchased influence that kept Senator Reed untouchable. At some point, coffee appears, then lunch. I barely notice it. I'm lost in my father's handwriting, in the meticulous case he built that no one would prosecute. In this room, with these dangerous men, my father's work finally matters. "This is enough," Sergei finally says. "We can start immediately." Dmitri nods. "Phase 1 begins tonight. Anya, you'll stay in the penthouse until this is resolved. No arguments." "How long will it take?" "A week, maybe less." He studies me, his expression unreadable. "Are you certain you want this? Once we begin, there's no stopping it. Reed's entire structure will collapse. People will lose their careers, their freedom. Some will lose more than that." I think of my father's face in his coffin. I think of 5 years of silence and shame. I think of Mrs. Kendall's poisonous whisper in the rain. I'm certain. I watch it happen in real time. The first domino falls on Tuesday when a federal investigation into Meridian Holdings is announced. By Wednesday, 3 of Reed's top aides have resigned. By Thursday, the media has picked up the corruption story, and journalists who once ran Reed's press releases are now competing to expose him. I'm in the library when Dmitri finds me Friday evening, reading the latest headlines on my tablet. Senator Reed's face fills the screen, shock and rage etched into every line. "You're following the news," Dmitri observes. "It's my father's vindication. Of course I'm following it." He pours 2 glasses of wine, handing me one. We stand side by side at the window, watching the city lights flicker below. "Do you feel guilt?" The question surprises me. Should I? "It depends on your conscience. You provided the weapons. We aimed them." I sip the wine, tasting cherries and oak. Good. He turns to face me fully. "Because we're not finished yet." Something in his tone makes my pulse quicken. "What do you mean?" "Reed still has his core network, his enforcers, the people who actually executed the destruction of your father's firm, the lawyers who threatened him, the regulators who fabricated charges, the journalists who published lies. His eyes are steel again, cold and absolute. They're still out there, still capable of hurting people, like they hurt your family." "What are you saying?" "I'm saying that justice isn't clean, but it is necessary. And I'm asking if you want complete justice or partial justice." I understand what he's offering, what he's asking. The wine glass trembles in my hand. "Complete." He nods once, his expression satisfied. "Then you should go to bed. Tomorrow, your father's name will be cleared, and everyone who destroyed it will be gone." I can't sleep again. The penthouse is silent at 2 in the morning.
everyone else lost in dreams. I wander the hallways in a silk robe Katya lent me, my feet silent on marble floors, until I hear voices from Dmitri's private office. I know I shouldn't listen. I know crossing this line changes everything. But I creep closer anyway, pressing myself against the wall outside his door, left deliberately ajar. Dmitri's voice is low, emotionless, speaking in English for the benefit of whoever is on the other end of the secure line. Status. A pause. Then, confirm all targets are exposed. The lawyers. Another pause. The regulators. Silence. Then Dmitri speaks again, and his voice is the coldest thing I've ever heard. Each word falls like a guillotine blade. This isn't about territory. This is about honor. They attacked someone under my protection. They made her cry in public. They thought they could humiliate my household without consequence. That error requires a complete response. A longer pause. I hold my breath. Kill them all. I want nothing left. The silence that follows is absolute, final. The sound of a door closing on everything that came before. I press my hand to my mouth, my heart hammering so hard I'm certain he can hear it. Comment, justice has a price if you're Team Anya. The corruption can't win. Now watch what happens when she finally fights back. But I'm not horrified. I should be. I should be terrified. Instead, I feel something else entirely. Safety. Perfect, absolute safety. For the first time since my father's funeral, I know that no one will ever hurt me again. I slip back to my room before Dmitri emerges. I lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to my own heartbeat. Somewhere in the city, Senator Reed's world is ending. My father's tormentors are being erased, and I provided the map that made it possible. I sleep better than I have in 5 years.
The headlines are everywhere by Saturday morning. Senator Reed has been arrested on corruption charges. His chief counsel is missing. The regulatory officials who fabricated charges against my father have been suspended. The journalists who published the smear pieces have issued retractions. The dominoes fall in perfect sequence, each revelation more devastating than the last. Mrs. Kendall's name appears in the list of Reed's major donors under federal investigation. I'm in the music room with Katya, attempting to maintain normalcy when Dmitri enters. He looks at his daughter. "Give us a moment, Milaya." Katya, wise beyond her years, kisses my cheek and leaves. Dmitri sits beside me on the piano bench, exactly where he sat that night we began this. It's done. I saw the news. That's not what I mean. He hands me a manila folder. Open it. Inside are legal documents. I scan them, my vision blurring. My father's company name, settlements, public acknowledgments of wrongdoing by the regulatory agencies, financial restitution, a formal apology from the State Bar Association. My father's name cleared, his reputation restored. "How?" I whisper. Leverage. When you destroy a senator's entire network, everyone involved becomes eager to cooperate, to distance themselves, to make amends for their participation in his crimes. He touches my hand. "Your father was right all along. The documentation proved it. Now everyone knows." The tears come, but they're different this time. Clean, healing. There's more. He produces another document. A check. It's the value of your father's company at the time Reed destroyed it, plus interest, plus compensation for lost earnings over 5 years. It's enough to restart the firm, to hire the contractors your father worked with, to rebuild everything Reed took from you. I stare at the number. It's more money than I've seen in my lifetime. Dmitri, I can't. You can. You will. His voice is firm. You provided the intelligence that took down a corrupt senator and exposed systemic corruption. You earned this. Your father earned this. Take it. Honor his memory by rebuilding what he loved. My hands shake as I hold the documents. What happens to me now? Do I go back to my aunt's apartment? To my old life? It depends. He stands, offering his hand. Come with me. He leads me to the penthouse terrace, 50 floors above Manhattan, the city sprawling beneath us like a constellation of captured stars. The November wind is cold, but the outdoor heaters make it bearable. Dmitri drapes his suit jacket over my shoulders. I made you an offer earlier, he says. Complete protection. I meant it. I know. But I'm making you another offer now, a different one. He turns to face me, and I see something vulnerable in his expression, something I never expected from a man like him. Stay, not as Katya's tutor, not as an employee. Stay as someone I protect because I choose to, because you matter to me, because watching you rebuild your father's legacy gives me something I haven't felt in a very long time. What's that? Purpose beyond power. He touches my face, gentle for a man with blood on his hands. I've built an empire, Anya. I've eliminated enemies and secured territory and commanded respect through fear. But you remind me that power means nothing if it's not used to protect the people who deserve protection. You made me feel human again. I lean into his touch, this dangerous man who destroyed my enemies without hesitation, who gave me back everything I lost. Your world is violent. Yes, people will call you a monster. They already do. I helped you. I gave you the weapons. I chose this. Yes, you did. I look out at the city, at the life I could have, safe, predictable, separate from his darkness. Then I look at him, at the man who asked a simple question and changed everything. Who made you cry? If you watched or listened up to this point, comment the country you are watching this from. Represent your country. I spent 5 years trying to be invisible, trying to survive without making waves, without asking for help, without admitting I was drowning. You wouldn't let me hide. You forced me to be honest about my pain, and then you did something about it. You gave me justice when the law gave me nothing. You made me feel safe when I'd forgotten what safety felt like. That's not an answer. Yes, it is. I turn to him, rising on my toes, and kiss him. Soft at first, then deeper, my hands fisting in his shirt. When we break apart, I'm breathless. I'm staying. I'll rebuild my father's company. I'll honor his memory. And I'll do it here, in your world, under your protection, because your ruthlessness gave me the peace I could never find through legal means. His smile is rare, genuine, transforming his face into something almost boyish. Then you'll need an office, and a driver, and security. I'll need all of that. And you. You have me. He pulls me close, and I rest my head against his chest, hearing his heartbeat strong and steady. You've always had me, from the moment I saw you crying in that coffee shop. I just needed you to choose it for yourself. Below us, the city glitters, indifferent to our story, to the violence that secured this peace, to the corrupt senator rotting in a cell, to the enemies erased from existence. Tomorrow, I'll begin rebuilding what my father lost. I'll hire back his loyal workers. I'll restore the Petrov name to honor. But tonight, I stand on this terrace with a man who asked me a simple question. Who made you cry? And then moved heaven and earth to ensure no one ever would again. His next command was devastating in its finality. Kill them all. And somehow, impossibly, that command set me free.